Thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, welcome to the Momwire series. My name is Lynn Bodner, and I am hosting chats with real moms about real momming, about the story of momming. And really, I'm on a quest to reframe the expectations of mom and the role of mom. And joining to me today is the beautiful Julie Larkin. And is awesome mom. She's got some stuff figured out, and she's a successful entrepreneur, and she has a really cool podcast, which we'll hook you up with at the end for sure. But welcome, Julie. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you. I honestly, this was the quickest, fastest, easiest yes of recent days, because what a journey motherhood is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it's cute that you say I have some stuff figured out, and I guess I do, and I'm figuring it out as a single one of us.
Oh, so we have a
little, there's that.
We have a little glitch going on, but let's just work through it and see what happens. Yeah.
Roll with it, people, just like parenting.
Yeah, I love to say motherhood is an iterative process, and so is Zoom calls. So
no doubt.
So as we're talking about today, our subject is talking about judgment and kind of some vulnerability weaved in there. But when you say that, every mom kind of cringes and goes, yes, we all know about the mom judgment.
Yeah.
We all get kind of sucked into it sometimes too. And I just, in my heart, I go, why? When we need each other more than ever, we need each other's ideas and support and love, and just sometimes just a lift or a complete hold. I don't know, but why? Have you felt that in your journey?
I have, and I'm going to say this though to start, and this might be somewhat annoying for those listening, but the truth is that I find myself very, very blessed here, because I have cultivated over my life a crew of women that can go vulnerable with me. So I'm not too often in scenarios where I can't show up with in the bad mom moments, where I just can't. I'm allowed to. But that being said, my daughter is now 10. I felt a lot of judgment. The last time I felt a ton of it was around the birth stories, and how everybody's told that their birth story should look a certain way, and all of that happy horse poop. And then breastfeeding, because unfortunately breastfeeding wasn't a stellar, amazing journey for my daughter and I. So I felt a lot of shame, not just judgment. That was mine, though, I think, if I want to own that. There was judgment, but I made it deeper by my own, like, damn, it's not working. And then I felt quite a bit about having an only child.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but here's what's cool about that one is, because I took a good solid year to really look at all my whys for should we have another baby or not. And once I got really anchored and grounded in the right choice for me and my family, whatever people said didn't land as judgment anymore. I was just able to be anchored in my truth, and I could just let them be who they were. But there was a lot of comments, of course.
Yeah. I think that gets to be fair game for some reason. I don't even know why. But what I heard you saying was one of the key things was to surround yourself and really find the people who resonated with you, the true supportive folks. And even if there was a layer of judgment folks walking down the school hallways, you knew you had your core, and you intentionally set that up. Was that your secret sauce?
Well, and I don't know that I could say it was super intentional, right? Wouldn't that be fun to be able to say? Like, yeah, I purposely did that. I think it was a little bit, quote unquote, dumb luck. I also think it's because of how I roll. Because I would even before I had my daughter, I was around mothers who were they felt safe enough to give me their pain and share the hardships, and I wasn't going to judge them. So I think I just naturally started to pull people like that in my life. And don't get me wrong, there are judgments. I think the ones that I feel the most to this day have a lot to do with discipline. And I don't know if, Lynn, you felt that in your journey, how we discipline our children. well, there's a lot of this is the right way and that's wrong. And that I still feel a lot of that like edginess around. And I just really remind myself to stay in my own lane, which then allows me to let them stay over there in theirs.
Yeah, I like the way you say that. I like that a lot, stay in my own lane. And unfortunately, there's just so many areas where others want to speak into it. And I've been guilty of that too. I think I've lacked awareness and I've had my head down and I'm driving in my lane and then it's like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing and should be, and they'll be successful if I do this and and here's the book. And there wasn't very many books, but I came to figure out actually, I'm the book.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I think you're the book and I'm the book and all these women and men are the book as far as the parenting side goes. And what I love about what you just said is that it reminds me of, this takes me back to when I was really new, when Ruby was still younger, she's 10, younger. And I learned somewhere along the way, the hard way, of course, because I was worried I was screwing it up, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm making all these mistakes and I don't know what I'm doing. And my daughter is suffering in whatever format I might have felt she was suffering. And I remember distinctly going and looking for information and then somehow through the hardship of it, making the connection that Ruby was my book. Like I can go and find information, but really if I just stopped and got quiet and listened to my daughter, and even before she could speak, that kind of listening where you just get quiet and you pay attention, that all of a sudden my answers were within me or her. And I still forget that all the time, by the way, now. But that I remember making that connection when those chapters got hard,
Yeah.
And then you just want somebody to give you answers. And then you try what somebody else tells you and it doesn't work. So then you start listening to you as the book and your kid's the book.
Yeah.
So I love that you just said that because it reminded me of that beautiful anchor point along the way.
Yeah. I love that you got to that present point because we're so busy and we're so riled up and we're so get to hurry, rush and run. But what was interesting, especially that I pulled out of that is the self-judgment. Maybe that's actually the ultimate.
Yes.
And why we even give a listen to it for a second to somebody else's condemnation because we're already hard on ourselves.
We are.
We have so much. I just feel this like, I wish I would have, but trusting ourselves and that self-judgment. I don't know. That's what I heard you saying.
Yep. No, and I think that's so truthful. I wrote this quote down before we hopped on this call because I knew what we were going to be talking about. And I remember when Ruby was like 2-ish, maybe 1, I don't know. So a friend of mine, a college friend of mine said that parenthood was the shortest road to enlightenment. And I remember taking that in and my sort of, and the humor that rose and the sort of, no, it's not. It actually, to me, I was like, well, yeah, I suppose, but it could also be the shortest road to insanity. Because it is, we're so hard and we judge ourselves and we have external judgment all over the place in our culture from fellow mothers and society at large. But what I like about this topic, and as I was writing it down today before hopping on, is I started to think about the ways that I judge myself still, or my vulnerability points actually don't have a ton to do with other parents judging me as much as they have to do with me judging me. And one of the things that I'm really aware of right now with my relationship with my daughter is just how much the things that I want to try to make nice or control better are actually pointing me to the things in me that still need my light and my attention and my healing, for lack of a better word. And when I sit with that, I'm like, oh, parenthood is a road to enlightenment. Because these kiddos are going to trigger us in all the ways that we still need to grow. And dude, it's not fun.
It's not fun. Every time my children are rejected by friends or something, I'm just like, well, let's go take care of business. And I'm like, gee, Lynn, why do you have such a response? Unresolved issues, just maybe. But, I went through kind of that just blindness to that. And questioning ourselves and stuff. I mean, I think what you're saying is, I guess what the question I want to ask is, you're kind of poking at some of the antidotes to that. So if you have to say there's a couple things that have really worked for you, for self-judgment, other judgment, and that poke on your vulnerability, maybe what are a handful of things or 2 or 3 things that you could say is a good support, self-support?
Thank you. I'm really glad you asked that, because that's really quite possibly the most important question. Really, is how do we support ourselves so we can actually become more whole and more happy here in this role for us and our kids. So one of the things that I think I cultivated very early on, and I'm really grateful for it, was this ability to be gentle with myself. And not always, because of course the gentleness would only come on usually the back end of a self-judgment dip, right? And then all of a sudden this wiser part of me would enter. And I used to say out loud to myself and to my little toddler, honey, we're doing the best we can. Nice. And we're figuring this out as we go. So not only for me do I think what preceded that ability to say we're doing the best we can was this getting present, to use, because you just said it. And it's really one of the main 3 pillars in the way that I come at all of life and living, and presence is the pinnacle, is to just pause for a moment, get still, and from there, and only from there do you find a more anabolic or lifting energy than maybe staying down in that judgy place. So being present, and then reminding myself that we really are all doing the best we can, and to bash ourselves while we're down is really only going to keep us down there longer and make it worse. So that was one. And then the other really is, which brings us sort of back to this idea of finding your tribe, is knowing who are my people. Who can I go and just let that part be seen, like, oh my God, bad mom moment, like, this is what happened, and then they get to just witness me in that truth, and then we can move through it. So
I love that. Sometimes that would be my wish. One of my biggest wishes for moms is in the chaos and in the heightened emotions of any moment is to go, okay, hang on, and step back and almost become an observer. And who am I going to call first about this deal? Who do I have in my, and culture, nurturing and creating those relationships is just key for moms. So it'd be like, can we just remove judgment and go? I think I have a quote in my book called from Abraham Lincoln, and it said, he said, I don't like that person very much, which means I simply need to get to know them better.
Oh, I like that.
How great is that? Because that's not a normal way of thinking. Good old hits it again.
Yeah, no doubt. And how true that is for ourselves, obviously, is what I'm gathering that you're saying. Yeah. And then obviously these little beings that are here to help us along the path to become that more enlightened version of ourselves. That we all thought we were, by the way, until we had kids. I was like, oh, I'm so well adjusted. And then I became a mother. End of story.
I knew nothing. And this kid is teeny and totally owns me. Great.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I said end of story, but really what's cool about it is it's beginning of story. Yeah. It's just, and every day is that. Like, that's another one I think that's really helpful for me and probably for many is letting each day be new. And not always easy, because there's been times where I have a daughter who is cut from the same cloth as myself. So she's a don't box me in kind of a child, and she knows what she wants, and she is beautifully brilliant at not backing off of that. And it's a skill that will serve her huge. Like, I'm so glad she has it.
Yeah.
And let's be straight, it's a parenting challenge sometimes. And there have been times where I've had to really, really anchor that and remind myself of that like a mantra. let each day be new, because you can get a little bit road rashed as you go along.
What a great term and a great visual. Do you happen to have a story in mind of a particular incident where you're like, okay, we'll survive her beautiful, strong will?
Yeah. You know,
if one doesn't go, it's okay. I just thought.
Yeah, it's okay, because here's what's showing up for me, and this sounds both really loving and slightly judgy of her. It's sort of, it's going to sound judgy when I put it this way, like death by 1,000, bites, or what's the saying?
Death by 1,000.
It's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's more that it's such a regular thing, and honestly, I actually used that aspect of her as a litmus test to know that I haven't done anything to break her spirit. Because as parents, we don't want to do that. We know that. Like, that's where we go, oh my God, am I screwing up that bad that I'm going to bust this kiddo's spirit?
Self-judgment, self-judgment alert.
Right, I know. Ding, ding, there it is. But the fact that she can just be that assured in what she wants every day is the way that I know that A, she's still got it. And B, that for me, I don't have like the one story. It's because it's really much who she is right now. And we're doing amazing through it. Like, she's such an amazing little person, a big little person. But yeah, it's more that it's very regular. I just know that that's who she is.
That's so great. That is so great. Yeah. So this whole idea of mom judgment, it's interesting that it came up today as self-judgment too. And then how much do we have that turns into guilt, and then we turn the camera on somebody else because we don't want that shining on us. So we're going to go judge someone else.
So right.
I just feel like we need to talk about that and go, yeah, especially as time goes on. I have seen it, and I have a range of kids.
Yes.
I've just seen the changes, and I just feel all the more every day. We really do need each other, and I love what I have learned from you, and just the realness there. And I just appreciate you very much, and I love the way you put stuff. I hope everybody has enjoyed Julie's comments, because she's just something else. But if you want,
thanks, Lynn.
Oh, for sure. Where can people check out your podcast? Because you've got some fun, cool subjects going on there.
Yeah, we're having such a blast. And before I do that, I just want to thank you for your making this happen, because this is such an empowering conversation for so many at this time in life, and always, really. But thank you for doing this. This is beautiful. So I just want to say that before I tell people how to find my stuff. So super exciting. We're doing a podcast called the Feel Good Podcast, and it's very much, we call it next level healing, y'all. But it's very much about each person really just feeling better and better right in here. Because when we do this work, everything else kind of comes together with greater ease, not the least of which would be our parenting journey. And that can be found on soulworkmedia.com. And you'll see a podcast menu link. And also, on Facebook, if you look for Julie Cataldo Larkin, and we can put this in comments, I'm sure, wherever. I post them there as well.
Perfect. I do that. I want to do that. Like, in the comments below, even though it's funny because I haven't created that yet.
We don't know where they're going to be. They're going to be down.
I don't know, but
right.
We'll put your information that people can link onto, and I will also include information if you would like to join, my email list or my Facebook page. And I am always looking for real conversations with real moms. So if you would like to just subscribe to the Momwire series, and if you would like to comment or wherever in any of those venues, I'm always looking for real conversations with real moms, and I feel like we all have something to say. So at some point I may be choosing from those who comment, and I would love to invite on additional comments, additional subjects, and because the bottom line is we all need each other, and really it's great to get to the heart of the matter on these things. So Julie, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you.
And from the heart, baby.
Yeah, right back at you. Yeah, and I'm excited to see the future videos. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is awesome. Well, we'll have you back.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Lynn.
See you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Remember to subscribe.